Yo, welcome back to another Murderess podcast. I almost got the title wrong, but welcome back, folks. We appreciate you. I almost said welcome back to Now That's Debatable. That's the other show. Welcome back to Murderess podcast. I appreciate you guys so much. I am your host, Sidney Smith. This is my big little sister, as I like to call her. Wait a minute, over there. August O'Neal, who's joining us. Our third co-host, Ray Earl, is off on the stage someplace telling jokes. So it'll just be August and myself tonight. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. On this podcast, we take a look into the real life murders committed by women. Before we get started, I do want to mention a couple of things. If you go onto Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars. That would be awesome. If you can give us a nice review, that would be great as well. Right now, we have 50 reviews. I should say 50 ratings, and they're all 5 stars. So this is a 5-star podcast that we've started and built up. We want to keep that going. So if you guys can give us 5 stars, it would be great. If you guys can give us a nice review, that would be great as well. If you dig in the show, tell everybody. If you hate the show, tell everybody. Either way, tell everybody. And don't forget, check out the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Sidney Smith Creative, and you spell creative, C-R-E, the number 8, T-I-V. That helps to produce this show, my other show, my films. I'm working on my second one now, just had the first day of shooting. So all that goes towards all of that. With all of that said, let's get this thing cracking, as August would say. Oh, God.
My beatbox,
all right.
entry.
You see, whenever I tell you you old, you give me shit, and then you do shit like beatbox.
I am older.
Which is so 80s that you would start beatboxing. Oh, I'm going to beatbox. That's going to be our theme.
My name is Peaches, and I'm the best. All the DJs would have touched my breath. Remember that from Come to America?
You are so old, Peaches. All right, this is an old rusty can of Peaches. You can't even open this can. You ever seen some canned goods that the top is so rusted that you're afraid to open it because if it drops down into the string beans, you can't eat the string beans?
Oh, Lord.
That's your can of Peaches.
Food bank Peaches.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. All right, so what's good? What's going on? What's going on?
Man, nothing. You know, I'm ready. Got my Snoop Dogg Cali Blanco per usual. I had time to get my glass this time. I love it. It's delicious.
You had time to get your glass. I love we threw that clip up, man. People seem to dig that clip from last week.
Oh, because that clip was funny. I was cracking up. I said, Ray is so extra. Ray is so extra. Like, and girl.
Super extra. Super extra.
He'll be over here Friday. He's going to help me in the patio, like put up my cabana curtains. Cause I got to get ready.
You got to get ready for what?
The summertime.
Oh.
So I can entertain at the Playgirl.
Oh, that's the name of the house, the Playgirl?
Yes, it is.
That don't sound corny. That don't sound corny at all.
It does not sound corny. Thank you very much.
Playgirl. I got to entertain.
That's a Playgirl. I'm really only entertaining one person, but still.
You planning some parties or something?
I haven't even had a housewarming party yet, and I've been in here for 2 years. So
I know you haven't. I know you haven't. It's very odd for you.
Yeah, it's my personal space. I was just
so now you have personal space because you bought a house. All of a sudden, someone's got personal space. You got a lot of nerve.
Can't be having everybody's business. So you just like your space. I love my space.
Only when you're doing shit you ain't supposed to be doing.
I ain't doing nothing. All I do is hustle. Every day I'm hustling.
Okay.
That's all I do.
All right. We talked about this before. I'm sick of these lies. Hey, August, before we on, I want to talk about a few things. Folks, if you've
Okay.
listened to the podcast, you know we ramble for a little bit. What's good? How was last week? I know you performed last weekend. August is a professional
Yes.
comedian, folks. How did it go, August?
It went really well. I did my first clean set in a long time. And the first show was good. The second show was even better. I didn't use any profanity. I even used the word fellatio. It was great. Same situation on Saturday. I had a great time. Gene Moore killed it as a host. Don Steinmetz is really good as well. That was my first time working with him, and we both worked with the Phoenix Police Department. He's a retired cop, and I was in 911. As a
Mm-hmm.
911 call taker, and
Mm-hmm.
then our headliner was Janelle Banks, who's one of my good friends, and she's really, really funny. She has this whole bit about Paw Joe, and I just couldn't stop crying. And then different things about President Trump. She was really good. It was a great weekend.
Good, good,
Great
good.
weekend
I'm
show.
glad that. And you were at Stir Crazy, right, over at Westgate?
Yeah, stir crazy.
Yeah, one of our favorite spots. Well, I'll say for
Yes.
me, one of my favorite spots to perform. Love ownership over there. Tom and his
Mm-hmm.
family are awesome. Savvy's awesome as a GM. The
Oh
whole
yes,
crew,
Savant.
whole
Yes,
crew.
Savannah.
Yeah, everybody's awesome over there. Again, one of my favorite places to be. So, thanks for.
I really like it.
I'm glad you had a good time. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I like the club. I'm saying because it's small and intimate. That's why I
Definitely
really
one of
liked
the
it.
more intimate clubs in the Phoenix scene for sure. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people. The cool thing about performing in Phoenix is I don't know how many clubs we have now, 6 or 7, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all in their own little regions of the Phoenix metro area. So like no, you really don't cross over too much as
Mm-hmm.
far as they don't cross over
Correct.
with territory, and you have a chance to really grow your fan base throughout the entire city because unlike a lot of metro areas where people would drive from one side to the other side. People won't do that in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going any further than they
They
have
don't.
to. So we need you to put everything I like to do. I need to be within
Yes.
this square blocks of where I live.
You
Otherwise,
can't.
I'm not doing it.
You like, I got shows. I got shows
Oh God.
in different area
Okay.
codes.
Okay. Every time. I know.
Area codes.
Is this what you're gonna do?
Maybe I
You're gonna
should
try to
start
find a
drinking
way.
water.
Yes. When you we need to move up when we start this podcast. We need to move it up because I think we right in your wine wheelhouse. When you gonna be drinking?
I gotta hold it
Did you feel
in my
that one?
wine wheelhouse.
Right in your wine wheelhouse.
I'm gonna spit it out. Oh gosh. Oh
Uh,
my lord. Yeah, cause man, this was a great weekend. Remember I told you I said I need to find this girl before we get into the show. Named Fatima
yes, you
Hamilton.
did. You did. What's her name?
Fatima Hamilton. We grew up together in Columbus, Ohio, or Westerville. And the last time I saw her, we were in the 8th grade at Walnut Springs, and I had a dream about her, and I need to find her. So I've been going down the rabbit hole, and I found a girl that looks like her. But I don't know if it's her, so I sent her a message on Facebook. And then we had somebody named Todd Brown who was in love with her. He's a pilgrim male, but
Could you
that would have
explain
been
to
his
people what
first.
pilgrims are? Could you explain to people what you mean when you call people pilgrims?
I think everybody knows what a pilgrim is.
People know what a pilgrim is, but people don't know what you try to say when you say pilgrim.
It's a white man
Okay, sis.
over here from the Caucasus Mountains. But yes. But
Some, some,
Todd Brown was sharp, and he really had a crush on Fatima Hamilton. And our 30-year reunion is coming up this year.
you
So
old.
I'm trying to get her and find her and splat out. That's all.
I hope y'all
Just try to
find
do
her.
my part.
I hope y'all find her, and I, not that I wish anything bad, but I hope it really don't work out the way that y'all expected. I hope
Fatima Hamilton, she has a sister named Naima. We gonna figure this out. We
Fatima's
gonna figure it
somewhere,
out.
bagging groceries somewhere, just hating life, and here y'all come looking for her. Just
Shut up.
she out here just, or she in witness protection, and she hope don't nobody
Oh,
notice her. She just trying hiding with the feds help, and you come
nah.
blowing up her spot because you got to try to help somebody from high school get back together and relive some kindling, start some kindling.
Just I'm all about love. I love seeing people happy and in love. So
This
Not
is
saying that
30.
would happen.
All right. Well, Fatima, if you happen to be a fan of true crime and you are not bagging groceries at the local Piggly Wiggly or hiding from the
GI.
mob with the help, hiding from the mob with the help of the feds, August is looking for y'all because y'all old
Yeah,
ass
man.
people are coming up on a 30-year reunion, high school reunion, and
Yes.
she would love for you to be there telling lies with the rest of those people who gonna be there telling
Really?
lies about how much they enjoy their life. Enjoy their life so much that they back at the high school trying to relive being in high school. So Fatima
They ain't
Hamilton,
really
if
trying to
you out
live.
there, find August.
Thanks.
What? We just put a cold red out for her,
We
man.
did. We did. You like find August. Like it's such a bad thing.
I did not. I did
I'm
not.
out here
I
trying
did
to
not.
do the Lord's work.
Said like every Baptist preacher ever seen with a glass of wine in his hand, talking about trying to do the Lord's work.
Look.
All you missing is one of the women in the choir sitting next to you so you can put your hand on her knee. That's the only thing you
Oh,
missing. The
child.
Lord's
No.
work.
Oh, Lord.
All right.
With a fan.
So 30 years, you can't wait. How many people you actually keep up with?
Well, Facebook is around, so I keep up with
Yeah.
several. We all keep up with each other. And like we go back, like Stephanie and Carrie live out here, and we see a lot of other people
Mm-hmm.
from Ohio that live out here. But as far as like my actual class, the majority of them are back in Ohio, and we keep up with each other on Facebook, Instagram. They come to the shows whenever I performed out there at the Funny Bone,
Okay.
and we just try to get together as much as possible, or not as much as possible, but at the reunions, like that's when everybody can get together. So it's a good time. I've even reached out to most of the other sisters that were in our classes. It feels like Stephanie and I are like the black girl representatives when we're there. They were like, dang, where everybody else at? There was like at least 20 of us.
Well, they got the message. You and Stephanie seem to
Ain't
not
no
get the
message.
message. You get the message, yo.
Ain't no message. I just be out here. You know me. I live my life. I kick it and I say hi.
Did you just? Did you just? Did
That
you
is
just?
all.
Did you just stop with a glass of wine in your hand and just pose? That's stupid. Stupid. All
No,
right.
the camera.
Well, Fatima, if you are out there, what are you doing, August?
I'll let you see the camera from. Look.
Fatima, if you are
All right,
out
let's keep
there,
going.
these people want to see you at the reunion. So stop bagging them groceries and come on over, hang out at the high school reunion. If
Westerville North High School, class of 1993, to be exact.
Okay, what's the name of the high school again?
Westerville North
Westerville
High
North. Okay.
School.
So Fatima, if you out there, or if you someone out there who just don't have shit to do, pretend to be Fatima.
Don't come.
Come on out to the reunion. Come on out. I'm for girl
Really?
Fatima. Yeah, man. Come on out. Do your thing, man.
We know what the team looks like, so.
All right. I do want to give a shout out to my cast of my new movie, Soul Betrayal. We did our first day of shooting. It was a 9-10 hour shoot on Sunday. Outstanding first day of shooting. I can't wait. Thank you. I can't wait to get this film done to see what it looks like, but we got a lot more days to shoot. Cast is just awesome. So looking forward to it. And just seeing what comes next with distribution and everything. So it's gonna be great. So shout out to them real quick before we jump into our story. You want to know about
What's the title? What's the title of that movie? Of the one
Soul
that you're showing?
Betrayal?
What's the
Soul
title?
Betrayal.
That's right.
And then you
That's
wanted
right.
to know about something, right? You want to know about the spelling buzz.
Yes, the spelling buzz. When I tell you, you don't know how many people have asked me and slid to the DMs or I see at the show, like, did you guys do the spelling buzz? When is that coming back? I said, well, I don't know. Let me go ask my co-host.
Yeah, that's
So here I am.
that'll be back. I think I'm going to do something in the fall with it because we're too close to summer. Do something with the fall with it, but I'm working on some way to maybe see about getting some distribution with that as well. Yes, lady with her hand raised.
We are not too close to summer. It would be a great summer series like it
Okay.
was last year.
All right, I got to tell you something. As the resident show producer and whatnot,
Okay.
I think I got a better read on it
Okay,
than
you do.
than my very talented co-host. I appreciate it,
Okay,
but I do appreciate. You're so eager all the time. I appreciate it. That's what makes you such a great, fun person to be
Well,
around.
thank you. It was
So
a great show. I loved doing that show. That was so much fun, and the comics loved it,
yeah,
and then the regular
def,
folk loved it.
yeah, definitely not putting it down. I just want to make
Yeah,
sure we're doing things with a purpose. I got a chance to
yeah.
see what it looked like last year. We did it all year. Got a chance to see what it looks like. Got his legs underneath it. Saw some things I want to
Hmm.
tweak, but you know me, I don't do nothing for nothing. So
I know, I know.
plan. For, I don't breathe without a plan.
I'm about to beatbox.
Okay, let's move on.
I'm not good.
All right, so all right, folks. Again, thank you for listening to Murderess. I had the luxury and the great time of doing this story this week, so it is on me. This week's Murderess is Christie Michelle Scott.
Mm.
And you guys know how this works. I'm gonna read it. August gonna make her comments and her little noises, and we're gonna have fun with that. We're gonna have a little fun with you guys as well. Nothing to take away from the story or the victims or anything like that. But this is just the way we process shit. So let's go. This week's murderess is Christie Michelle Scott. It was almost 2:30 on the morning of August 16th, 2008, when screams accompanied by loud pounding awakened Jennifer Davison. She rushed to the front door of her home in Russellville, Alabama, to find her neighbor, Christie Scott. Scott held her 4-year-old son, Noah, while screaming hysterically that her house was on fire. Davison immediately called 911. The call reached, make sure I recorded that. Thank God. I was like, man, did I forget? For some reason, I thought, man, I forgot to hit record. Davison
And you
immediately
call me
called
old.
911. The call reached the switchboard at 2:31 a.m. Fire trucks arrived at the burning residence within 10 minutes, but it was almost 5 minutes more before Scott, age 31, informed the firefighters that her 6-year-old son, Mason, was still trapped inside.
Mm, 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 mm.
So let me reread this. Fire trucks arrived at the burning residence within 10 minutes, but it was almost 5 minutes more. So we're looking at 15 minutes until we're into this thing before she informs them that her 6-year-old son is still in the house. Scott
Yeah.
indicated the location of Mason's bedroom, an area that was already totally engulfed in flames. The responders looked at the flames, broaching the roof and windows, and knew that little could be done to save the child from the inferno. Yet they worked swiftly to quell the fire, and by 4 a.m., responders were able to enter the dwelling. Franklin County Coroner Elsie Malone pronounced Mason Scott dead at the scene.
Mm, 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 mm,
Christie
mm,
Michelle
mm,
Brace
mm.
Scott was too upset to answer the investigators' questions coherently. But they did learn that Noah Riley Scott had been sleeping in the bed with her while her older son, a victim of Asperger's syndrome, slept at the other end of the house. Scott's husband, Jeremy, age 32, was an exec actually at CB&S Bank, was away on business. Russellville Fire Marshal Bobby Malone surveyed the charged refuse that had been to Scott's home. It was normal protocol to inform the Alabama Department of Human Resources when a child under the age of 18 died. He also decided to call in the state fire marshal. Christie Scott had been involved in 5 fires within the past 8 years.
You see, look, you see my face right now?
I see it.
Okay. 5 fires in 8 years. So how many insurance claims did she file? This I'm
Slide,
listening.
slide yourself back over a little bit for me, August. So we can. There you go. Go ahead with that.
You
What you
don't want to
saying?
see Godzilla?
What you saying?
How many insurance claims has she filed within that period of time, within those 8 years?
I think we'll get to a little bit of part of that.
Okay.
I think. 3 days after the death of Mason Scott, pieces of the puzzle that surrounded his last minutes were already falling into place. Russellville Fire Marshal Bobby Malone had called in the Russellville Police Department, the Alabama Fire Marshal, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. The ATF for short for a lot of folks out there. State Fire Marshal Ed Polk utilized an accelerant sniffing dog to determine that the fire was not accidental in nature, but
Mm,
ultimately stated only that the blaze had originated around 6-year-old Mason's bed. Could the mildly autistic child have been playing with chemicals that somehow ignited? Could an arsonist have known that Jeremy Scott was out of town and used that opportunity to settle some real or imaginary score? The third scenario seemed even more bizarre to authorities. Christie Scott had herself started the blaze that claimed the life of her oldest son.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna let you
No, go ahead.
finish.
No, go ahead. What you got? If I can,
No,
let's talk about it.
but she did it sound like she specifically was trying to kill him or the whole house?
Well, I think if you got the chemicals around the bed, whoever did it was looking
Yes,
specifically to kill
for
this
the baby.
child. Yeah, and
I, I
the oldest one, because she brought the youngest one out the house with her.
yeah. Okay.
It had been it had been less than 3 years since a fire had destroyed the family's former home in Russellville. So don't forget, she had been involved in 5 fires. One of them, it looks like, had destroyed their former home 3 years before. There was no injuries in that fire, and Christie had blamed a Glade air freshener plug-in for the blaze.
I know you lying. Let me take this shit out of my house right now. Cause my house smells like pumpkin pie. Okay, pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin.
Like Bernie Mac said, it smells like pumpkin pie. That's what it smells like. I'm
Uh,
taking them all out.
that is such a good joke. One of my favorites by Bertie. Somebody asked me, Bertie, does pussy taste like pumpkin pie? Motherfucker, don't ask me. I ain't never had no fucking pumpkin pie. Such a-
Child. Oh Lord.
my other
I'm gonna
favorite
tell.
my other favorite Bertie back joke was and I
Mm,
remember this one
mm,
because I
mm.
think everyone remembers this one. This was back when he was on Def Jam, and
Yeah.
he said my family was so poor we had to eat cereal with a fork so we could pass the milk on to the next individual.
That is funny and nasty at the same
It's
time. Blech.
absolutely disgusting. If you've I don't even
That's
like
like
to
drinking
drink
after
my
my.
I don't like to drink my own milk after I eat cereal. Oh, so
No, I don't.
disgusting.
Once I'm done. Ugh, ugh.
I
Oh,
used
that's
to
funny though.
when I was a small kid. I did. I ain't gonna lie. Most of us did, but I grew out of it because it just became that's disgusting. But
My
yeah,
son does that. Ugh,
you mean little
that's
man with
nasty.
the ascot?
Yes, my 11-year-old roommate. Him. Him.
Hey, pick me up a caramel macchiato and a pack of cigarettes while you're out.
You're like, okay, all right.
All right. So it had been less going back. It's been less than 3 years since the last fire that they had destroyed the home. Uh, she had blamed it on the Glade air freshener plug-in for that. She had blamed the blaze on a Glade air freshener plug-in. If anybody out there has ever had one plugged into your home is probably still standing because I don't know anybody's fire whose house is burned down because of a plug-in fire.
That's them little white lies, okay?
Now,
Mhm.
the investigators had theorized that that fire had been intentionally set using cardboard boxes. There had been no
Jesus.
physical injuries related to the previous fire, the second within 2 days, but the home had been insured. So there had been 2 fires there within 2 days.
Did she
But
say it was residual fire? Like what was left over? Was it leftover fire somewhere? Was it sleeping? It wasn't dormant.
no, no, that was the second one was the Glade fresh air freshener plug-in fire that she tried to blame it on. But the home had been insured, and both Christie and her father, Don Bray, were insurance agents.
Ooh, don't I know it, child? Let me tell you.
You trying to say? You trying to say you saw this coming? You saw that coming?
Yeah, you got to follow the money. Plain and simple. The biggest denominator out of all of these most of the time is the money and greed. That's it.
Yeah, well, I think
You know what? I'm gonna kill you because I could use that $500,000. I know I took these vows and all, but fuck you. I need this money.
sometimes I sit back and I think, how broke do you have to be to think $500,000 is a lot of money? That ain't a lot of money.
Yes.
Definitely not worth a lot of money worth you going to jail for life for.
It ain't worth it. I mean, it's a lot to me today because I can use that. But would I kill somebody I loved for it? Absolutely not.
Let me say it again. Let me say it a different way. Yes, a lot of
Okay.
people could probably use 500,000, but that's not
Yeah.
enough money to kill someone over. That's like how long you think you're gonna live off 500K? Go ahead. What's up?
How much money is enough to kill somebody over, sir? If it ain't 500,000.
Oh, I need to see a B in there.
You just see it. Okay,
Yeah,
a
I know.
lowercase b or capital B. You
You
need
do.
it in bold and italics.
Hey, as long as aliens comes behind it, that's all I
Oh
need.
my aliens.
So I need
No.
billions of money, dollars, for me.
I can live off of $500,000.
You could not live off 500K. That is not
Yes,
enough.
huh?
Look,
You wanna know why? You wanna know
why?
why? Because
Why?
Fashion Nova offers quad pay. Yes, I can live off of it, honey.
Cause what?
Fashion Nova and all these little boutiques I shop at, they offer quad pay and Klarna quad pay installment plans for all my shopping. So I'd be just fine paying $20 every 2 weeks. I could live off $500,000. And I can do my own hair. I already fly for free.
Look, man. Um, that I'm
Yeah, that's
thinking
what I
about.
thought.
No, I'm thinking about billions, so I can leave the country and have my own island. They can't
Oh, you
bring me
doing?
back. I can afford the best defense. You over here talking about how to get clothes on quad pay.
I'm just telling you how you can live off of $500,000. Just telling you.
Anybody
There's
out there
ways.
looking to hire someone to kill somebody, and you just got a small budget? It sounds like you
Call
might.
me.
It sounds like you may not even have to really pay August cash. Just hook up with a quad pay
Call me.
and let her
Pay me in installments after the body is buried.
let her get a couple of outfits on installments. Help her out. She got you.
Shut
So,
up. Quad pay your death, your murder.
so it had been less than 3 years since the fire had destroyed the family's former home. Wait a minute, I touched that already. I apologize. Let me go up here. So, for my own sanity here. So now we know that the 6-year-old son has died in the fire. There had been a fire 3 months prior at their former home, two of them actually. The second one actually took the house down, and there had been insured, and both Christie and her father both are insurance agents, so that I have all the information in front of me here. So the investigation into the previous two fires had been perfunctory at best and intentionally sabotaged at worst. No one wanted to listen to the investigators' theories of arson and pyromania. Christie was a native of the nearby Haleyville, the daughter of Don and Kathy Bray, both leading citizens in the small town. And me, as someone being from a small town,
Okay.
that matters. If you're out there listening and you grown up in a small town, you know that matters. Who your parents are, what type of money, what type of position they hold matters. So I'm not surprised that this came into play. So Christie was a native of the nearby Haleyville, the daughter of Don and Kathy Bray, both leading citizens in the small town. Her husband, Jeremy S. Scott, was an information technology specialist at CB&S, a locally owned bank that had been in Russellville institution for over 100 years. That too matters. So there's
Yeah,
some
the
roots.
position and title.
Absolutely, there's some serious roots because that whole small town. There's a very few people leave and stay gone from a small town. These people go to
Yes.
high school together, they graduate together, and they still get married and they have kids, and that just it goes over and over.
Yeah.
You go off to college, maybe you graduate, maybe you don't, but some way, somehow, you end up finding your way back to that town that you went to high school in, you grew up in. So not surprised by any of this. Yet the fires on Steel Frame Road had raised suspicions among many in the community. Christie had been involved in two fires at her family home in Haleyville. Now a fifth fire had claimed not only the young couple's new home, but their child. Mason started, well, let me stop right here.
I just cannot imagine.
But
Imagine killing my child.
I knew when I found this and I started looking at it that this would touch you because I know how much you love your little roommate. And so I
Yeah,
know you couldn't imagine. I know August is gonna feel
I
a certain
I
way.
can't. Because the only thing I could barely do the Darth Vader death grip on his ass. I'd be like, he'd be like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm imagining shit right now. Because
Right,
that's my
right,
baby.
right. Well,
Like, Lord?
I'm I'm sitting here thinking as a husband,
Yeah.
look, look, man, I don't know how long we're gonna be together if you keep letting these houses get burnt down. I
Yeah.
don't, let
Yeah.
alone that we have kids together. If I can't trust you not to burn the house down, how can I trust you with the kids? Not to even go to that far, not to even go to the length of saying you would hurt one of the kids. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But if I can't trust you
Yes.
with this, how can I trust you with this?
Why did he stay married to her? I'm confused. Because she comes from
Right.
old money in the title. But why was she acting as they called nouveau riche? If she comes from old money, what are you doing? Why are you trying to burn these houses down, getting this money? Is this the what does she look like? Did she try to keep up some type of, I don't know, facade money? I'm confused.
Well, you gonna go
What
look
was
right
it?
away what this girl looks like as soon as we're done with the podcast. So you'll know,
Mm,
and people out there who are listening can jump on and look at it right now while they're listening. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, I know you have probably already went to figure out. A lot of times, it's very. I would say this. I'll let this cat out the bag, folks, for who are just new to Murderess. Very seldom are the women that we cover attractive. All right, so always assume not.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. However,
You say
if it's
that
a
every
Sammy
time.
Davis eye, if
Oh,
it's a Sammy Davis eye,
oh wow. You know what I just
oh,
heard, and now I don't want to say it like I just heard it. I just heard it again, and I think I forgot about it, but I found it fascinating. That during Frank Sinatra's Heights, Vegas, and that whole deal,
hmm
he had told the casinos, you will no longer treat black entertainers the way you've been treating them. They will no longer go
yep,
in and out through the back door. They will no
that is
longer
correct.
be sidelined to other areas where they have to eat and drink and enjoy the sights and the sounds of Vegas, old Vegas back in the day. I found that very
Yeah,
interesting that Sinatra did that.
Sinatra was the man. He was very much, well, even today, he would be invited to the barbecue. You see what I'm saying? So would Marilyn Monroe because of what she did. I think it was with Sarah Vaughan, or was it Ella? I think Ella Fitzgerald actually.
I don't know that story.
So she said,
What's the
"Oh
short of
yeah."
that? What's the short of that?
She was supposed to perform somewhere, and she had to come through the other entrance, and then they had booked Marilyn. It was something like that, and she said, "I will not work here unless Sarah or unless Ella works here, and Ella's able to come and get the same treatment as I get." So they were actually friends after that.
I did
I
not know
believe it
that.
was Ella Fitzgerald.
I
hmm
did not know that. I never knew that. That's a good story. That's a good
Yeah.
story.
Yes.
You know,
We got some
well,
from
a
back in the
lot of,
day.
but a lot of times most of the time when people talk about Marilyn Monroe, they talk about how beautiful she was, and they talk
hmm
about her affairs with the Kennedy brothers, and then of course
hmm
her suicide slash murder, depending on who you talk to.
hmm
But one of the things I never realized either, to someone that mentioned, I think it was another woman that mentioned, this is years ago, her dress size. If you go
hmm
over what her figure, her measurements, Marilyn Monroe was like a size 10, I believe.
Yes.
She was not a petite woman, but she was still
No,
seen as the biggest sex symbol of the time.
that is correct.
Yeah, I found
Of the
that.
time.
Yeah, yeah, I found that.
But now you go to Hollywood. I remember my first year there and doing background acting work, and I was a background actor and I played a cop. And they tried to measure me, and then she goes, "Oh my God, she's a size 12. We're going to need to put her in a plus size category." I was sitting there like, "Who plus size? Who?" I said, "I got your plus." And then I had to wear a man's uniform because they didn't have anything above a size 10.
How many
That
years ago was this? August, you there?
was my camera freezing because I ain't about to answer that question.
Oh, just say that you're not answering the question, knuckleheads over here. I'm like, okay,
Look,
this girl's internet went out again. Before I get back, I wanted to tell another quick story about Sinatra that I heard that Don Rickles. I heard Don Rickles tell, and I love it. Don Rickles, funny guy, funny comedian, one of those just get up without material types and just rip
oh my
and go
God.
and go and go. But
Yes.
he said they were hanging out. I forget where he said they were, but they were hanging out, and these flashes kept going off outside. And Frank and all those guys, they were drinking, and Frank was upset. He's like, oh, this damn paparazzi. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously. All this paparazzi. Go out there, get rid of them. And they're like, well, come on, we don't want to go. Go out there and get rid of them. So they go outside to get rid of the paparazzi out there taking pictures. What they discover is it's not paparazzi. It's raining and it's lightning. So, but you can't go back in. None of them want to go back in and tell Frank that there's no one out there, there's lightning. So he said Frank is standing there looking out the window and they're out there pretending to shoot people away.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Inside. And I love that story.
Appeasing that ego.
Right.
Oh,
And that's
funny.
right. Because I think there's something to be said, and I'm sorry folks who showed up for the true crime, but we'll get back to it. Or you may have fast forwarded through this already. I have no idea. But I do think there's something to be said when it comes to show business with understanding within your group who is the star and who is there to support and be a co-star to said star. I think at somewhere along the lines in a lot of people's lives, and definitely in this country, everyone thinks they were born to play the star in the school play, and you were not. You know, I know your mother kept telling you from the fourth grade on, oh, Miss Susie should have casted you as Romeo. I can't believe she had you playing a tree. No, Miss Susie had it right. You are the tree, not the star. And so I think
be the best damn tree
be the best damn
ever.
tree you can be. So I think it's something to be said about that group of guys. And there's been other groups of people as well and groups of women. But knowing Frank is the star and the rest of not to say we're not talented, but this is the guy leading the fucking way.
Yes.
Your thoughts? That's
Like
it?
James Brown and the Flames.
It's not even
It's
close.
just like that.
Not even close. But yeah, close enough.
But it's like that. When it was the Flames, when it was the famous Flames, and James Brown was leading the group, and the music or record company actually wanted to sign him, they separated. It said James Brown and the famous Flames. Frank Sinatra wasn't really part of any group, but it was Frank Sinatra. But he was part of the Rat Pack, so he made everybody famous. But it wasn't Frank Sinatra in the Rat Pack.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but I get it. There always has to be a front man. It ain't gonna be David Ruffin and the Temptations. It was the Temptations. David, get your ass up over here and do this goddamn show and get some money.
But I guess, but that would be maybe a little bit different because David Ruffin did wanted to be David Ruffin and Temptations. Just like they almost try to make it Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 or Michael Jackson and the Jacksons. While Jermaine and them weren't having that. I don't even think Michael wanted that.
Nope. And it didn't happen.
I think he wanted to get the hell out the group more than anything else.
But he was still the star.
He was still a star.
So, you know.
So
it goes without saying. It's just either you are or you ain't.
You know what? You're right. It goes without saying. It can either be David Ruffin and the Temptations, or it can be just the Temptations, and people still know who the lead singer is.
Exactly.
Either way.
Exactly.
I do think that the Otis probably made a little bit of a miscalculation because I think he thought you could have a group and there not be anyone who would be thought of as the front. Go ahead.
Otis is still alive. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say. Everybody's going to see Otis now, okay?
Fatima Hamilton, if you out there, they want to see you over at this high school reunion.
It'll be Fatima Hamilton and Westman North High School.
All right, so.
Can we get back to the podcast before people hang up on us?
No.
Oh, my Lord.
You don't know how this works.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. You're the captain of this ship.
That's not it. You think people... Oh, we'll talk about this off.
You know what I meant. I've been drinking. I'm saying words incorrectly, but you know what I meant.
I don't know what you meant at all. You do probably need a group. We need to get you somewhere before we have you back on the podcast. Get you you sit down in a
No.
circle of other folks like you, not like yourself, and talk about
I'm going to talk to you about my wine wellhouse.
Mason.
Wheelhouse. See?
Mason has started the first grade at Russellville's West Elementary School on August 4th. Less than 2 weeks later, he was dead. Many who had observed Christie and Mason together characterized the mother as uncaring. Others in the community were surprised that Scott showed so little emotion during her son's funeral at Russellville's Calvary Baptist Church and in the days that followed. Christie Scott returned to live with her parents in Haleyville, while her husband Jeremy took their younger son to his parents' home in Russellville. The young father also took out a protection from abuse order against his now estranged wife after Mason's
Ooh.
autopsy showed large amounts of sedative in his system. But physicians admitted to prescribing at these dosages in order to calm the hyperactive child. So these were large dosages, but the doctors fessed up that they had actually prescribed them that way. All right,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. You got nothing.
Because I know you're going to keep going. I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself right now. I got my sound effects ready.
What the hell do I have you on the podcast for if you're gonna keep your thoughts to yourself?
That's how I feel about that bitch.
Oh, good. What?
Let's go. She's a loser. You don't. Let's go.
You
I'm
brought.
going to wait till you're done.
No, what are you waiting till I'm done? You're supposed to be say what you say.
I am, but I thought you wanted to read more. I'm glad the husband did his due diligence in protecting himself and the child, or the other children. And she's a bitch. That's all I wanted to say after that. Ain't no way in hell. So she's gonna try to blame. Well, not. I guess she didn't necessarily blame the doctors, since they said that they gave him that prescription. But did they say this is the prescribed amount every time that you're supposed to give him? Like, there's questions. There's questions.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the sedatives were, but it does say the physicians admitted to prescribing at these dosages. So if they gave it at that dosage, then yes, the doctors had something to do with it, and this kid was supposed to be hyperactive. On October 26th, the Franklin County judge, Terry Dempsey, issued a warrant for Scott's arrest after her indictment by a grand jury. Information presented during the hearing indicated that Alpha insurance agent Christie Scott had taken out an additional life insurance policy in the amount of $100,000 on her son the day before his death.
My face hurts. You can't even let the ink dry. Damn, a day before? How broke are you? The fuck? I'm sorry to cuss. That really pisses me off. How broke are you?
You can curse.
Go out and get your ass a job. Go find you some business. If you can't take that child, don't. What was the reason behind killing this baby? First of all, there ain't never a reason. If you don't know how to be a parent, get your ass.
Whose phone is that? Whose phone? What the hell's going on?
One of my hoes. I'm kidding. I'm just saying. I don't have hoes. Y'all don't have hoes. I gotta say that now. That was a joke, sir. All right.
Because you know this is gonna be a clip.
You know, you be like, huh? One of your hoes here. Anyways, no. How broke are you? How bad? That's all I wanted to say. How broke are you? Your mindset is broke. Your mindset is broke if you feel like you have to kill your child for $100,000. That is all.
Okay, all right.
I'm about to go shave my mustache now. I'm very upset, and I'll never shave my mustache. This makes me want to shave my mustache off.
What does that have to do with shaving your mustache?
I don't know. Like, when I get mad, I shave shit, and I don't never touch my mustache though. You learn things. You learn something new every time.
For people who are listening to the podcast Whenever you hear me laugh and pause, I'm jotting down a note. I'm like, man, that might be a good clip to have them edit up. They hear this woman say when she's mad, she shaves shit, but she never touches. I never touch my mustache.
We walk around here looking like Miss Pearly. But I ain't touching my mustache. Whatever, moving on.
That is, well, yeah, we gonna have to move on, but that's still funny shit, girl. You over here. I shave shit when I get mad.
Mm-mm-mm.
All right. So,
Mm-mm.
as Christie Scott turned herself in, Franklin County District Attorney Joey Rushing and Russellville Police Chief Chris Hargett held the obligatory news conference and photo op. The bearded Rushing reiterated the basic facts of the indictment, 3 alternative accounts of capital murder, after which the often beleaguered Hargett mumbled over the sadness of it all, failing to remember if Mason was in kindergarten or first grade. In the nearby courtroom, Circuit Court Judge Terry Dempsey refused bond in the case, even though both Scott's father and husband, with whom she was now ostensibly reconciled, so she kind of reconciled with the husband somehow,
Are
testified
you
that the.
serious?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go, say what you got to
I
say.
would not have rectified. I was gonna let you finish. I would have not reconciled. I said rectified. Reconciled with that wench.
I wouldn't have
He
either.
didn't kill my baby and almost killed my other children. No, no, mm-mm. Nope, nope, no.
Fatima, I just heard your old classmate August say cheering. So if
Nope,
if you don't want to go to that,
no.
what's probably going to be a country ass high school reunion where y'all say children, you don't have to attend.
It's not country. It's
Uh,
just the fact of the matter is her her pussy is not that good. I'm sorry. That's all I'm gonna say.
all right. So they had reconciled, testified that the former Alpha representative was no flight risk. Adorned in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs, Scott was returned to the Franklin County Jail where she remained. Don Bray, a successful woodman of the world's insurance agent in Weston County and self-proclaimed world's greatest chef, arranged for Huntsville defense attorney Robert Barry Tootin to represent his daughter. Tootin, a summa cum laude graduate of Jones School of Law, specializes in capital murder cases and has in the past represented such defendants as Natasha Ward, the Huntsville woman accused of starving her 3 children to death, as well as Andrew Packmoff, the UAH physics professor tried for the murder of his wife. So this man had done this before. He'd been here before.
He said, I'm gonna use the same defense I used on that last wench.
Tootin also asked for a change of venue, another request denied by the Judge Dempsey. Dempsey stated the jury pool for Scott's trial would be increased by 300, bringing the total to 500 individuals in hopes of selecting a fair and open-minded jury. Tootin announced the jury selection process might take long as 5 days. When you have some of these high-profile
Oh wow.
cases, I don't know where you would move them and think you're going to
Yeah,
get the jury pool of people who don't already have some preconceived notion of what went down.
true.
I
Yeah,
know they.
because remember they moved.
Go ahead.
Remember they moved that Johnny Depp case and Amber Heard case to Virginia.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
but
they're like,
it's
oh, these people gonna be less Hollywood. Please, those people were so goddamn starstruck. I was on Johnny's side regardless. I didn't care.
but it's
But we
still
already
Johnny
knew.
Depp and Amber Heard. That's one of them cases. No
Yeah,
matter what's the point of moving it.
yeah, yeah. What's the point?
It's not Johnny
Because
Depp
they
who
don't.
bags groceries over here. It's Johnny fucking Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean, 21 Jump Street, and I. All right. I'm
That
with you.
was my Pirates of the Caribbean.
And I'm with and I'm with you.
Go ahead. It's gonna stop. Damn it! I thought it was gonna stop. Hold on, it's the edge one. Hold on. There we go.
Your old ass do not need to be doing anything what you doing.
Let's go.
It's
Let's
gonna
go.
stop. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh wait a minute. It ain't stopping. Uh, and that Johnny Depp shit though. I remember that. The more craziness that came out, when it came out, she was cheating and changed the
Mm-hmm.
locks, and she was on the elevator cheating as if there's not a camera there, and then the fake bruises on her face when she was photoshopped this
Yes.
shit,
And
and
taking pictures of him passed out or
right,
feces in the bed or putting the dog poop in the bed. Like, girl, you
running
doing
the
too much.
running the camera, trying to set him up to get him to go off and have the camera running at the same time. I mean,
Yes.
I feel sorry for whoever ends up with her next. Pussy can't be that good.
Yes.
Franklin
Never.
County is no stranger to a murder case in which a young child was the victim. However, this was perhaps the first case involving someone of Christie Michelle Bray Scott's socioeconomic standing in the community. Her family's money and position bought her the best defense attorney, but it remained to be seen if such factors would influence jurors from provincial Franklin County after they saw the photos of Mason's charred body. When I was
Mm-mm-mm.
reading that, reading about that, I said I'm not bothered by a lot, but I'm not sure if I could sit there and see photos of a small child's body that had been burned.
No. No. No, I couldn't do it.
Not saying
I could.
I
That's why
could, not saying I couldn't, but go
I could do it because I remember when I worked at 911 and I was getting ready to go to the police academy and I was doing my um, field training ride-alongs and stuff like that. And then I thought about certain stuff. Like I eventually quit, cut off my engagement, moved to LA, whole flip. But at the end of the day, I would have probably quit had I baby or a child or something like that hurt. I probably would have quit because my heart hurts for the kids. They can't. They're defenseless.
yeah.
They're defenseless, and that would hurt my heart. And I'll probably try to kill somebody. I'll probably lose my job. I
Well,
already know me.
I think on the last show we figured out, you like to put your hands on people, so there's a good chance you would have went to prison.
I don't like to. It is a consequence. Moving on.
After this, don't tell me to move on.
Your face.
No, no, no. Let's
I
we gonna run the tape back.
I redeemed.
We're gonna run the tape back after the show. And for anybody out there listening to this episode, go back and listen to episode 3 when you will hear where August talks about putting their hands on people.
Did I talk about the Scooby Doo incident or was it just on GP?
Oh, so there's multiple incidents? Yeah, that's what I thought. So, so, so after a trial lasting 2 weeks, a Franklin County jury convicted Christie Bray Scott of 3 counts of capital murder. During
That's
the
right.
trial, the prosecution produced evidence of insurance fraud and an emotional affair with longtime family friend Will Markham, a former insurance agent who agreed to hold personal items for Scott the day before the fire.
So premeditated. Why was it 3 charges of capital murder?
That's what I want to know too. That's what I want to know
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So I
So
found it. Go ahead.
so I'm like, so the premeditation was there, the plan was set, and I can't remember if you mentioned his name before. Was he one of the ones that helped her write up the insurance policies, or no, or gave her advice probably?
Nope. She was an insurance agent on her own.
Okay, I know, but did he help her in some
There was
way,
no
somehow?
there's nothing that I found that anyone helped her
Okay,
write up the policy. I did find
okay,
this. I found to be interesting. So this was the medical examiner's testimony. A state medical examiner testified Monday that 6-year-old Mason Scott was alive at least briefly as he was being burned in a fire that killed him and destroyed his bedroom. His mother, Christie Michelle Scott, who was charged with capital murder, is accused of starting the fire. Dr. Emily Ward, who performed the autopsy on Mason's body, testified he died of smoke inhalation and thermal burns. During questioning by Assistant Franklin County District Attorney Doug Evans, Ward testified that soot found in the child's throat and lungs during the autopsy indicates he was alive as the fire began. She could not say how long the child might have lived as his body was being burned. She said much of the child's skin was charred during the fire. Quote, we don't think he was alive the whole time the burning was going on, quote, close quote, but we don't know what point the death occurred. Christie Scott wept when Ward testified the youth could have been alive as he was being burned. Evans displayed 3 photographs for jurors that Ward made of the child's badly burned body before the autopsy. Scott buried her face in her hands and looked away from the monitor screen as the photographs were displayed. Jurors showed no visible emotion, which I was surprised by, as they viewed the photographs. Some appeared to be taking notes during Ward's testimony. Ward testified the autopsy revealed Mason Scott had high levels of carbon monoxide in his blood. In his opening statement, June 11th, defense attorney Robert Tootin told jurors he expects the evidence would show the high levels of carbon monoxide are a result of fire smoldering for an extended period before being discovered. He told jurors evidence would show the youth breathed smoke from the fire for a prolonged period. Scott told investigators when she awoke to discover the pre-dawn fire, she attempted to rescue her son, but was turned back by intense smoke and heat. Scott told the investigators that she and her then 4-year-old son Noah escaped through a window. Tootin contends the fire was accidental. Prosecutors say the fire began when Scott ignited a bed belonging to her younger son. So she used the younger son's bed to start the fire, because he shared a room with Mason as well. Scott told investigators that Noah slept in her room the night of the fire. Mason Scott's body was found on the floor of his bedroom during Monday's questioning by Evans. Ward said high carbon monoxide levels are not unusual in children who die in a fire because they have smaller lungs and they have more rapid heartbeats than adults.
Yeah.
So,
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine that poor baby, what he was thinking. He probably didn't get it. Wherever he is in a better place than being with that bitch. That's all I gotta say.
yeah.
And is she, I don't, is she still alive? That's all I want to know.
In his
Is she
closing,
still alive?
in his closing statements, Joey Rushing said convicted murderess Christie Michelle Scott should die. Joey Rushing, as usual, said a lot of things. The Franklin County District Attorney was quoted in the Times Daily as stating, "There's nothing worse than a mother murdering a child for insurance and because
I
they didn't
agree.
want him." We're not sure to whom the word "they" refers. Observers said Christie couldn't handle the child. Fran said Jeremy was more interested in work and possessions than he was in his own son. Don't forget this child was autistic.
Hmm.
So
So they felt like they couldn't handle him. It was going to cost too much. But you got money. You have money to help you with this child.
you have money to help you with things, but money doesn't take away the fact that you have to spend time and there's attention you got to pay to
Of
this kid.
course.
So that goes along with it. And I just want to make sure I reiterate this, not only because I want people to understand what I'm reading here in this short paragraph, but I also want people to understand she didn't just kill any old child.
Ah,
She killed her own child, and
jeez.
she killed her own child that had disability or health issues. I'm not even sure how the proper way to say it. But observers said Christie couldn't handle the child. Fran said Jeremy was more interested in work and possessions than he was his own son. William
Mm-hmm.
Markham, the man who admitted on tape to being Christie's emotional lover, and I never know what the hell that is. I don't know what an emotional lover is. Either you fucking or
I
you're
can tell
not.
you what an emotional. No, you're not. An emotional lover is the middleman. He's the buffer. He's the one that helps you have sex with your husband because your husband is not emotionally available. That's it.
That's how that works. So why would
That is it's the one. It's like your work husband in a way. It's like the one who feeds you everything you want to hear and what you need. He's the one that takes you to lunch and tells you look beautiful or sends you flowers because your husband is not doing it. And she feels all and when she gets home, she's all and kissing on her husband because she's ready to go.
Yeah, but what is
That's
it?
it.
What does the emotional lover get out of that though? What does the man get out of that?
Apparently, he don't want shit
I mean, does he not
because it.
know? Does a man? I guess my question is: does a man who's thought of as an emotional lover is he not aware that he is that for that woman?
I can't speak for him, but most men know their place.
I don't know why whenever the camera turns on, you try to act like you're a different person than who you are, and then every once in a while you slip into who you really are, like you just did. And for people who are listening, that's August's real laugh and voice. And also, I want people to know August will keep me on the phone talking about the most random shit that is not important.
I do
Sometimes
not.
you do too. So whenever we get on these tangents, and she be like, "Let's just go back to the murder." That is not who August is.
Well, this is your podcast. I ain't trying to get off subject too much.
Look, I will guide us here and guide us there. But yes, I just want the audience to know that they haven't seen the real you all the way yet.
They've seen it.
Shit. All right. So my man was the emotional lover. Said he didn't care for the child either. A child he thought should have been whooped, quote unquote, more. So
But he should have done it. He
this
wasn't there to parent. He wasn't there to help her. Not saying that's an excuse. She felt overwhelmed because she ain't have no help. And she had another child that she had to tend to in her insurance business and all this other stuff. She can't handle a baby with Asperger's. Then get you some goddamn help. You don't kill the baby. You don't get an insurance policy that says, well, when I kill him, though, I'm going to still need this extra $100,000. That's just stupid. She
so
was overwhelmed. She needed her outlet was that man who was her emotional partner.
so surely these others in Mason Scott's life deserve some of the blame for his death. No.
I agree.
What?
I agree.
You agree that they deserve some of the blame for the child's death?
Yes,
Why?
I do.
Why?
Well, especially the
Maybe
daddy. I ain't gonna
maybe
say.
the dad.
I ain't
Yeah.
gonna say. I ain't gonna say the guy about the emotional affair,
Okay.
but definitely the daddy. I mean, the sperm donor. Definitely him. Definitely him.
Why definitely him? Why would you say that?
Well, didn't he have to sign off on the insurance policies too? Because they're both married, right?
I don't know how that works. I never tried to go put
I
a
believe. I believe you do.
well, I would think that if they did that, they would have discussed or found that as some type of evidence as well. He would have been brought up on some type of charge. Go ahead.
And there's emotional abuse as well as physical abuse. He knows what's going on in that house, regardless if he's at work and being the provider. You know what the fuck is going on in your house. Period. So yes, he should have been brought up on charges too.
I agree with you, not because of the insurance, because again, I didn't see that. I didn't find that any place. And I
Mm-hmm.
would assume if they had found his signature on that, his
Mm-hmm.
ass would have been ran up the fucking flagpole too. But I do agree, you were married to a woman and she's watching your children, and hell, you got
True.
two fires at one house, let alone five in total, four, I should say, in total, leading up to this one. You probably should have made some other arrangements.
Yes. And I think he possibly reconciled with her so he would not have to testify against her. It's probably in his best interest to do so. So she didn't throw him under the bus either. Just my thoughts.
Huh? I didn't even think that's why he. Because I'm like, why would he reconcile with her? But she could
Mm-hmm.
still divorce him if she wanted to, or something. Probably if he was involved.
She could, but he doesn't have to testify against her. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I
When
get
they're
what you're
married.
saying. I get what you're saying. That's why I
Yes.
said she could have divorced him. All right, so um,
She probably said, if your ass don't fucking reconcile with me, I'ma tell everybody what's really going on in this house and what them checks, blah, 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 blah. So you fucking better be on my fucking side. That's probably what happened.
you are insane. You are insane.
I'm not insane. I'm telling you,
if
that's probably
anybody,
what happened.
if anybody out there is dating August, and I don't know who you are,
I,
but if
what
you
you
are,
mean, if anybody?
but if you
You
are,
know who it is.
if anybody out there is dating August, and I don't know who you are, I don't know any names, but you need to watch your back. Wait, August.
Hey, give me some water.
You yelling at your roommate like that? All right. So surely
That
these
man gotta
other
watch his back. I'm such a caring and loving, loyal individual person. I swear.
In the
We're just having fun.
in the words of the immortal Bernie Mac, let's move on. So surely, surely,
You said it wrong.
surely these others in Mason Scott's life deserve some of the blame for his death. No, they didn't murder him, but they apparently made no attempt to intervene in what was obviously a pathological situation, a textbook dysfunctional family. To your point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some of the jury agreed in part because 5 jurors voted for the death penalty and the remaining 7 voted for life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I voted death.
I would have voted death too, but do you? Because if someone in there makes the argument that you just made, that
Mm-hmm.
if someone had stepped in, the husband had done something different, maybe the husband had something to do with it, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You sure you don't vote life in prison?
For just her?
Yeah.
What's the difference? Is he going to be brought up on charges whether I choose death or life? I would put death asterisk in 30 goddamn days. That's what I would have put. But you can't do it that fast. But whether I would
Well,
have said life or death, does it matter? Because he wasn't being brought up on charges.
I agree with you. I'm going with death myself. But when I was going through this and I got to this part, and I only added this part so that we could discuss it, because I was trying to
Okay.
figure out, 7 people said life? Why? I can't see it. And then you started
Yeah.
speaking before we got to this part, and I'm like, okay, I can see where maybe these people might have got to life in prison instead of death if they feel like the husband could have done something to keep this from happening, possibly.
Mm-hmm. But does it matter? He's not being brought up on charges. So why does it matter if they chose life? Would they say, if we choose life, we're going to bring charges up on the husband? No.
Okay,
So
all right.
why does it matter whether she kill that bitch? That is all.
So,
Boy, let me tell you, they don't want me on Bill Maher short and child, let me tell you that. I would say so much, like I'm saying here. Because she is now officially on my list. Her and George Zimmerman. They are on my list. And Casey Anthony on my list.
that,
If I ever have a mental breakdown or something or see
don't
them
say it. They don't say
on
it. Don't you? Hey, 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 hey. All right.
I
So,
just said on my list.
all right. So, after after that news came out, 5 jurors voted for the death penalty, 7 for life. The defense attorney Tootin said, "We are pleased that a majority of the jury saw fit to save her life." The DA, Joe Rushing, said that puts a burden on the judge when there is just such a split. And Joey Rushing requested that Judge Terry Dempsey sentence Christie Scott to death by lethal injection. An Old
Yes.
Testament eye for an eye. Surely spending the rest of her natural life in the hellhole that is Twyla prison would have been enough punishment for this sick, sick woman. Despite the jury's recommendation of life in prison without the possibility of parole, on August 5th, 2009, Judge Dempsey sentenced the 30-year-old Scott to die by lethal
He said,
injection.
smack it up, flip it, kill her. I
Luis
agree.
Harris from Montgomery, Tierra Gobble from Houston, Shonda Johnson from Walker, and Patricia Blackman from Houston, all prisoners at Tutwiler with a Z before their Alabama inmate system number. All women who expect to die in prison, all females sentenced to death for heinous crimes. Now, Christie Michelle Scott of Franklin County will join them. In less than 30 days, the state of Alabama will forward paperwork to the Franklin County Jail to have her transported there. In all probability, Scott's journey will take place that night. So, in less than 30 days, they got that paperwork done, got her out, got her off the state to the state prison. Marked police vehicles were allowed to speed down the state's roadways, and Scott should reach Tutwiler shortly after dawn. Now, Christie is along with 4 books, a television if any of her family should desire to provide her one, and possibly a small animal. Yes, Scott will have the luxury of a bird or a cat as long as her family provides its upkeep. She will
In
also get
the
to.
prison?
Yeah, she will. And there are only 4 death row cells there as well. But she will also get to shower every other day and walk for 1 hour each day in a small private garden. Even her meals will be delivered to a small cell that will become her home. 10 by 10, approximately. 10 feet by 10 feet. Yeah, man.
I have never heard of an inmate having an emotional support parakeet ever in jail. Are you being serious right now?
I don't fuck around on Murderess. That's what I found. That's what's here.
What in the pilgrim privilege is going on here? An emotional support animal in jail.
For 30 days, Scott will be allowed no visitors. After that period, immediate family may make arrangements to visit during approved hours. Then Christie Scott will be alone again, alone in the cell where all lights are turned off at 10 o'clock at night, alone with her thoughts and her guilt. This is the life for Christie Michelle Bray. Scott traded her son Mason. Let us all pray for her family.
Wait, one more question. Is there a date yet for her lethal injection to take place?
You know what? I did not find that. I don't know if you want to take a quick breeze, but I didn't. I didn't find it. And you can let us know.
Let me look.
In,
How do you
in
spell her full?
Christie Michelle, I would just say Christie Scott. Christie Scott. While August is
Chrissy?
Christie,
Okay.
Christie. While August is looking that up, I want to let you guys know about this story. Excuse me, about the sourcing of this story. The sourcing is showscrime.blogspot.com, timesdaily.com, and by Josh Alt on WSFA.com. I really, if you've been listening to the podcast, did you find anything?
No, but she's ugly. All right. I'm sorry. She's not attractive.
I told you. All
All
right.
right.
For anyone who's been listening to Murders for a little while, you know that.
Nope.
What's that?
No, I just said I didn't find anything.
Okay. For anyone who's been listening to Murders podcast for the last couple of years, you know that the stories about children being murdered usually affect me more than anything else. This one didn't grab me quite as much as some of the other ones we've done in the past. Probably because it wasn't as graphic in description as some of the other ones we've done in the past. But I knew this would be one that our listeners would enjoy, you guys would enjoy, our murderous accomplices, as I've nicknamed you guys, and August O'Neal would have a reaction to it. Again, she has a young son, which I call her roommate. So if you're new to the podcast, I call her young. I have a couple of nicknames: the roommate and little old dude. If you ever hear me talk about the little old dude that wears the ascot and smokes
It's
cigarettes, the
him.
long cigarettes, that's what I'm
He got a John Voight scarf.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. But I knew this one. I knew this one would get to you a little bit, though.
Mm-mm.
I figured
I
it.
just I don't understand. Like, I am a single parent, and no, my son doesn't have Asperger's. Okay, but it's still not easy being a single parent. She has a 2 income household, a husband, another kid, a whole insurance company, whatever. You got the help and the financial means to take care of this baby. And even if you didn't, you are a mother, and that instinct is there for you to take care of this baby. That I mean, I cannot. I do everything I can that I'm supposed to do for my child, and I cannot imagine harming my child. Now I can imagine harming his daddy at one point in time, but my child, not never,
Yeah.
not never. I'd be trying to fight bees that sting my child. Okay,
I,
so
I I'm
this is some bullshit, and I think she should have been sentenced to death 30 days after the verdict. Why are we gonna waste the taxpayers' money?
I
No,
thought
don't
that
do
they
that.
went and I'm no defense attorney, and I've never defended multiple murderers such as Tudor did. But I thought they should have, if they could have found a way, they should have went with some type of mental inc- incapacity
Nope.
defense instead of
No.
what they went with.
No.
What? No, what?
She had the wherewithal to write up the policy a day before a policy. She had the
Yeah. Oh,
wherewithal
I
to
guess. Yeah. You
provide.
throw that. Yeah. Yeah. You throw that. You throw that. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. That you're probably right. That one key thing keeps you
Thank
from
you.
being able to go with that. Yeah.
Ain't no one. She gave her emotional work husband items that she wanted to keep
I'm
sacred,
sorry.
and she
The
had the
second
baby
thing,
with
I
her.
forgot about that too. Yes, I forgot about
Third,
this too.
and she had the youngest one with her in the bed.
Well, you could have just said the youngest one fell asleep with you in the bed. You didn't have to say that you kept him from sleeping in the room. You just had him in the bed with you. But even before you get to the third one on your list, you're right. The first two completely, and I feel like she wanted to get caught anyway. You have to want to
I
get
don't.
caught to add an extra
Yeah,
$100,000 the day before you murder him, and to give your belongings to another person before your important items to another person before you set the fire. You have to want
yeah.
to get caught.
I don't think she wanted to call. She's just stupid and desperate to get out of whatever situation she was in,
You,
and
you
felt
can do that.
overwhelmed, and said, "You know what? I can't take this. What can I eliminate from my life? Oh, I know, my kid. The fuck is wrong with you? I would never, not in a million years, never, ever think about doing some stupid shit like that. Like I said, I know a lot of women, a lot of single moms. Well, I won't even say single moms, single parents. We do what we have to do for our kid because our kid did not come asked to be here.
I'm glad you
That's
said
it. So
single
if my
parents and not just single mom. I'm glad you
yes,
said that.
single parents. So if someone would have told me my child was going to be born and be missing uh, or have Down syndrome, just anything, I'd be like, okay, I still have my kid though, right? You see, like I don't fucking get it. If you did not want to be a parent, don't have. Ain't that what Michael Jackson said? If you can't feed your baby, then don't have a baby. If you can't love your baby, then don't have a baby. That's all I'm gonna say. You shouldn't have fucking done it. I would never hurt a child. Never, never in a million years. Now I may choke a little bit, but I would never kill a kid like my child. Now there's been times when my mom has choked me out, but I ain't die,
All right,
and I deserved it.
we're gonna end the podcast right here. All right, so this story again, just to say it again, the
Woo!
story you just
Child,
heard
I'm about to
was
get upset.
you already upset.
Oh, I'm about to
We
get.
sourced it from
About to go shave
showscrime.blogspot.com,
something.
timesdaily.com, and by Josh Alt on WSF.com. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Murderess Podcast. Please remember, be aware of your surroundings, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. I'm about to go shave something now. You done made me mad.
Oh boy.